All right, so in this video, I want to talk about, obviously, jobs that are recommended for INFPs. Just to throw it out really quick, that INFPs can do anything that anyone else can do. So here, I'm just going to highlight like the top 5 that I've kind of handpicked myself. So, since this video is not sponsored by anybody, we will get started. The first one I want to talk about is a psychologist. For me personally, I know that a psychologist should have been in some route that I should have took. I'm just so fascinated by human beings and what makes them tick, the complex nature of people. To me, it's just that's what really just gets me going. For one, to just understand my own self, just completely just dive into myself a lot. That in turn helps me to help other people just through the things I've gone through, this and that. Since we INFPs are so kind of drawn to human behavior, typically, that's why you guys are watching this video in the MBTI world. Yeah, just psychologists. All right, number 2 is going to be an author, writer, in that area. To me, it's no brainer. We do prefer to articulate our thoughts, not so much verbally. It's not saying we can't, but I know for me personally, I like to have the time to really formulate, get my points out, instead of after the fact having a conversation with someone and then beating myself up for a week because I should have said this, I should have said this, I should have said this. When you have time to write outside of the pressure demands, a live communication kind of thing, writing allows us to put that stuff on paper and edit it and clean it up and just really put in a lot of thought to what we want to say, because again, the stuff that comes out of us, if we're going to put it out into the world, generally it's going to be something that we want to really polish up. Again, with our perfectionism tendencies, a lot of that stuff that we struggle with, I know I do, I struggle with perfectionism all the time, and plenty of commenters over the span of my YouTube journey definitely say that, you know, they've published books and things like that. So I'm not a writer per se, but I do like to text and like, you know, I'd rather write emails than call somebody, things like that. But I'm not naturally a book writer kind of type person, but that's definitely a career field I'd look into. All right, and my personal favorite videographer slash like photographer type individual. That's not my role, that's not my job. This is just my side project where I'm doing obviously the YouTube stuff. In the last, you know, few years of discovering, complete by random, not some kind of goal when I was 10 years old, I want to be a videographer, mom. Like, it wasn't like that. But like the fact that I fell into this a few years back and just realized like, wow, this really, it's video stuff for me really feels like writing. So to piggyback on point 2, when you edit a video, you have a lot of time on I'm sitting by myself behind a computer. There's not a bunch of people around me. I'm in my own space. I can kind of put things where I want to put stuff. I can edit stuff. Again, like I was going back to when I said that we like to kind of get our points across. With editing or writing, you can inject those things after the initial thought. You know, when I film this video, I can put in extra overlays or whatever and just help polish things up. So it gets my point across. I get the time to do so. With editing, you have access to so many things to really tell your inside story and make it more vibrant and colorful. To parallel how hard it is typically for when we typically hold ourselves silent out in public, it's because we just have a very difficult path to actually articulate what is so like crazy in our head, like with all the stuff that's so like it's hard to explain. So like you can't really put words into what our internal, you know, world is like. So we don't always share that. But if you have access to some video time or telling your story via photographs and just really getting in touch and getting on the streets and like just taking photos of unique things that a lot of people don't have an eye for. With very creative types, there's more of an eye for certain angles or like creative stuff that's just not, you know, just, this is something I highly recommend. For me, it's just, this is my thing. It's not for everybody, but I love it. So I'm gonna keep trying to plug away and just keep getting my video game skills better just because I enjoy it. So I have no idea what number we're on, but the next one I will go with teacher slash counselor. This is something where I know I find joy in actually teaching people. That's a lot of been my role in leadership positions, and did a management role for like a 4-year period, which was the worst stress of my life. But my job now is to really train people on how to like operate our equipment and things like that, just, you know, how to service things, whatever. So my job is heavily teacher related, and I really like to help people. When I have anything inside of me that I feel that I integrate with some kind of person, just through daily interactions, and I feel it can help someone, I love to share that. I try to be very transparent with any kind of opportunity I have. I just think that, again, as for INFPs, we generally do have a desire, regardless of what the opinion of our FI and being selfish and we don't care about other people, I do feel that we do have a natural, like I know for a fact I do, I just have a deep natural care to really help people. I can't help hundreds of thousands of people at a time because the interactions that I do, they're really, I gotta put a lot of energy and thought and everything, just a lot of me into it. So with that, I prefer obviously the smaller groups. I've had to train and talk in front of large groups. Anxiety goes through the roof. When I can kind of whittle that down to like smaller groups or one-on-one basis, I really enjoy that experience. Since we are just really good with empathy, things of that nature, and we do study human behavior generally, like I said, it's something that is definitely a go-to for me to explore. All right, so the last one is a foreign language interpreter. As for INFPs, it's said that we are very quick to learn. I'm not one of those INFPs, thus I'm not interpreting for no one. I'm trying to interpret it for myself on YouTube so you guys understand me.
Does anyone here speak English or even ancient Greek? I've water there, thank you, sir. Little fish make love in it.
When it comes to foreign language, INFPs generally have a knack for really picking up, that kind of stuff. And there's a lot of intrigue with just understanding different cultures and aspects in this and that. Because I'm fascinated by where everything comes from. I don't have the simple mind of just what my culture is. I like to get out. Once I, explore around the world and seeing things, third world countries and things like that, there's negative things you can see out in those kind of environments. There's such a high intrigue to really just get in there and just see all the grittiness or the really, positive roles of all the cultures combined. And it's like, so feeding my insides with that information, the NE just kind of grabs all that and feeds my FI on a silver platter. It's like, here, buddy, take all this and like unravel it. And then we can create for our own self, like a dynamically diverse, cultural, rich type person. In foreign language, if you can actually go to that place and actually sit yourself in the culture and environment and like articulate and just really have conversations, as we want to like help humans and this and that, if you can go to another country and do that via their language, it's just, again, you're just expanding your worldly vision of helping people. Foreign languages, it's so intriguing. I would love to speak another language. I did buy like one of those little kit things for Spanish. It's called Fluens or whatever. I like the format of it better than like the Rosetta Stone type stuff. This video is not sponsored by anybody, including Fluens. I'm just saying this is something that I have that I need to kind of get back and pick back up and dabble into it, because I do want to learn a special language, and not a special language, a separate language. And Spanish is the one that I kind of was drawn to. So it's kind of said that INFPs we're like the lowest on the pay scale. Which again, I understand how, we can be more creative by nature. A lot of the creative type projects don't always pay so much, the starving artist, the traveling photographer person. And so like, it's not to say you can't make money and stuff in the creative fields, but generally minimalistic type thinking type people, we're not big on, necessarily big on getting promotions and high dollar amounts of money. Not to say that an INFP can't, make a good living for themselves, but to me, there's a lot of more balance. It's more about the happiness factor than it is about the money, how much money you make. And a lot of the roles aren't necessarily going to be high paying. In my opinion, that's okay. Because we get the happiness. So again, just let those people off.
You're not going to study to be a doctor, or you're not going to do this, or you're not going to do this.
You got to get out of that and just let that kind of go by. So don't pigeonhole yourself to like a couple things, or we can only do this, or we can only do this. You can function in all kinds of different areas, and depending on where we're from and how we're raised and grown up, you can be completely in a non-preferred type role and actually enjoy that role. So I think with any job we have, we can find little creative pieces to inject throughout them. When it comes to a preferred, like this video topic, there's generally more of a creative or just our inside that we can kind of share more of the majority of the day, opposed to where I gotta find little snippets to inject that's not the majority kind of thing. Don't limit yourself to the really super low paying jobs, because like, well, I guess I'm screwed. Because you can if you want. I mean, you gotta go to school and things like that generally, but yeah, creative stuff, if you really put a lot of effort into it, you can make a good living for yourself. So, all right, hope that helped, and I'm sure I'll make a video on jobs, what not to go to. That salesman one just really rings a bell. So that'll probably be number one. But anyway, you guys have a good day, and thanks for hanging out. All right, later.